Uh-oh. Did I move? Oh, there it goes. Alrighty. Good morning. Let me put my commentary tool in so I can see what people are talking about this morning. So today we are going to have uh-oh, turn it down. There we go. We're going to have a discussion today. I kind of want to talk a little bit today about something. Didn't post anything yesterday. Doesn't mean I didn't have anything on my mind. I always got something on my mind. This big noggin is always doing something ridiculous. But this morning, I got my coffee. Well, every day I'm drinking coffee, and that's bad. Like, it's bad. Well, I'm not sure if coffee is bad, but coffee's not the greatest thing. Good morning, Renee. Sister Renee, how you doing? Good morning, Buddha. How you doing? Buddha Cat. It's always good to see you in the morning. Sister Marcia. Can you guys hear me well? I always do the live thing. You have to make sure people can hear you. So good morning, Sister Deb, Sister Diane, Sister Gabby. Hey, I saw the kombucha video. I see you going live. You go, girl. You go, girl. Get your live on. This is important, y'all. We need to do more live videos. We need to talk more. Is coffee bad? You know, that changes every couple years. They like to change stuff around. So you got to check the weather. That's every couple years they tell you coffee is good or coffee is bad or whatever. And me, I don't think I have a choice. Like, I think we're at such critical times in human civilization that we don't have a choice. I may not be, I know I'm not, like the best thinker on many topics. I don't have as much exposure as some of my brothers and sisters out there, but this stuff helps me tap into my corporate America side. And so, if you guys who know me, you know that I did root cause analysis in corporate America for the longest time. Managed the international team. I got pretty damn good at it. We did our best to make sure we got production systems back online, and we get on the phone with all these different vendors and programmers from different corporations to get their interfaces back up, and just like solving problems on the fly. So my brain does this thing when it comes to root cause analysis, where I try to drill down to the base of a problem. And this is why coffee in my life is necessary. Like, I think in order for there to be a future, to avoid this back here, y'all see all this back here? To avoid this, we need some thinkers. We need some people to really start putting minds together. Like, I think if we survive as a community, we survive as a human species, and we need all different types of thinkers and all different types of experiences. And so me, I try to bring root cause analysis and my experiences, and coffee helps me to do that. So I have to drink it, whether it's good or not. But it's not Starbucks, Sister Diane. It's not, no, I don't do that. No. I used to have a Starbucks habit. Boy, we used to we'd get Starbucks in the morning. We'd sit down, try to solve the world's problems with the brothers and sisters, and then we'd have Starbucks in the afternoon, and we'd have Starbucks right after work. Somebody would bring Starbucks to work, and it's this crazy thing that I think it was probably like a $150 a week Starbucks habit. So no, I don't, and I'm not anti-Starbucks. I'm not. I might be anti-unicorn latte, but that's a whole different discussion. The whole big business thing. I left that world. I'm done with it. Which is why, Brother Shaw, good morning. Which is why I drink my coffee out of a mason jar. Why in the heck is it in this one? I can't even remember what this is. I've been drinking out of this thing so long. I think this was some organic tomato paste, I think. But either way, it is. I am speaking in defense of coffee because we got to save the world. So let's just stay focused. Sometimes you got to take the evil with the good, and this allows me to do it. But I drink out of mason jars. I don't have my favorite coffee cup this morning that my brother made. My brother from another mother, because I got, Man, I got how much family we have now? We have almost 8 billion brothers and sisters from another mother. We got a whole bunch of them cats, but this was one of them. Well, no, the other one was one of them. I'm sure some slaves made this, but the other brother made my other coffee cup. But this one, I guarantee, was some slave labor was involved in some of the manufacturing somewhere. But why would I throw it away? So why in the heck would I throw the glass away and buy new glass? So we don't do that in my house. And my kids, they're some of the craziest kids on the planet. But they'll come to your house and they'll look at all these nice, pretty glasses, and and I think if they remember back when they were kids, they remember that we had all of that stuff that we threw out. When the glasses broke, I decided we're not buying anymore, and we just started saving these. So, but the main reason I drink out of these is because the consumerism. We gotta get out of consumerism. My grandfather drank out of mason jars, and I thought he was a crazy cat, but apparently he knew a lot more than I gave him credit for. And I would bet you, if you really thought back, some of your parents and your grandparents drank out of things too. We don't have to buy all the junk the world has to offer. But anyway, so we're gonna get into it. I'm gonna warn y'all this morning, though. This is not a polished video. Well, none of my videos are polished, but I'm just talking this morning. I might be here for a minute, so get comfortable, get coffee. We want to talk. We got some bad stuff to talk about today. Today is Get in Trouble Friday. This is the day I watch my friends list go doot 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 doot. People who follow me, they kind of want doot doot doot. This that'll go down because mainly I'm not on anybody's team. I'm not. Y'all get to points like, oh, Gerard is with us. He's with us. Or some of y'all call me Kenyatta. He's with us. He's with us. No, I ain't with none of y'all. I think all of y'all are bunny in the pot crazy. I'm not going to hit Debbie's bat blank crazy, but I don't like the curse. I'm bunny in the pot crazy. Y'all groups. I don't do the groups. I'm a human being, and that's all that matters. And I don't like y'all's groups hurting my human beings. That's what I don't like. And so, but today we might make a couple people upset. And Andrew, you got it. The Fed has to end, but I'm probably upset some of my libertarian friends too on that side this morning. All right. So anyway, let's get going. That's my coffee. Why I'm drinking coffee in a mason jar, because we decided we're not buying any more cups. The only cups I'll buy are local cups made by people. I know people who do pottery who do that, and if you do that, you need to make sure you're not drinking the glaze. You got to get a vitrified cup so that it's actually stoneware. So it's microwave oven safe, and you don't end up with cancer. So anyway, the future of the world. This is what it looks like. This is what we are going to give to our children. And the more you start to look at the problems in the world, the more it makes it obvious. We only have one. We only have one problem. Let me get that sign over the top of my head. We only have one problem, and that's greed. Now, mind you, there might be some other problems. There might be some other stuff that I'm not tuning into yet. But when you really get down the bottom of everything everybody's crying about, whether it's the topic of the day in America, unfortunately, is racism. Like the whole idea race even exists, and we should fight over this fantasy thing. Hate, even cancer. How we're polluting the environment. Why people can't have the guns and their gun rights, and why there are no jobs, and across all sides and everything. It all gets down to one thing, and it's money. Well, that's not the base of it is greed, right? We've learned how to make a system that allows one of our worst characteristics, greed, to really thrive, and it's a mistake. It is a poison. That's right, Sister Renee. It's a poison, and every solution I hear, like how people will send me stuff. And they're like, they got all these new ideas. And the thing that I'm putting in front of you is that if greed, okay, greed and money go hand in hand, right? Like that's its little brother. That's his evil little crooked brother, right? It is a tool, but it's not about just coins and paper dollars. It's about the concept of currency, right? It can be beans, it can be rice, it can be whatever you want. This idea that some quiet people can sit in a corner and dictate the price and the value of a thing. Excuse me, I just burped on video. Y'all, this is why y'all don't take me serious, but that's okay. Ooh. Hope my mom don't watch this. But anyway, but it's the concept of currency, right? So if you have this cog, in a monetary system, it'll always be turned around against the people. Always, and there's nothing you can do about it. No matter how crafty your system, no matter how great it is, like everyone's got these new things, and people keep shooting out MMT at me, and I'm just, and this is where my root cause, the brain thing comes up, which is what I did my entire life. If we know the problem, and most of the people in the world will agree, well, even America, the world knows the problem, but America, let's just talk about America. Well, it's not even just America, it's the Western world, the developed world. If most of us agree that the problem is greed, then how can we make a system that's based on it? Like, you can't make a system that's based on what the actual problem is, or you'll always have the problem. Like, this is basic logic, right? Like, this is, and I know, you're gonna get upset, y'all, but think about the picture behind me. Like, maybe I can see if I can do something that would help. I think when you start to think about what we're up against, right? Like, this is not politics. People want to talk politics. I don't talk politics. I talk about human life. Like, I don't care about politics. Let's go to this one right here. Let me put this up here. But sometimes I think if you have visual aids, it helps you to think more clearly. So let's go with this one right here. So this is the result of monetary systems, right? Like, this is the result. The basis of using a thing and a value means that something else somewhere else has to be devalued, right? It's a scarcity model. So if you make a thing like money, a coin, or some beans the basis of your system, then the only way I climb and I can have, security and safety and whatever, is I have to deny somebody else. Someone else can't have something, right? And so a lot of people like to talk about nowadays, again, slavery in the South and North, and it's an ignorant conversation. I said it before in another video. Like, simple things like this mouse right here. This mouse, as I use it to make this video to talk about the people who developed this mouse, it was made by slave labor, right? Let me go to my wallet. Let me dig this. I don't know what's in here. Might be some coins and some fuzz in there, some little lint, but all of this stuff. You see all the videos, people flashing the cash, dancing, and all that retarded, ridiculous stuff. All of that is this is slavery. All of this is slavery. So the idea that I'm using this every single day, but I'm against slavery, makes me a complete hypocrite. And I think we have to embrace the truth of our society. Every monetary system that's ever existed has been based on slavery, cheap or labor that involves very, very underpaid, or people forced to do it by a whip or a gun. All of us, every single one of us. And that's the truth, Ruth. Like, that's the facts. And so if you can just really embrace the fact, you don't have to have a solution, right? You don't have to have the fix. People sometimes, when you start talking about money, the first thing they want to know is, well, what is your fix? You don't always have to know the problem, right? Like, sometimes you just need to know. Say we were cavemen, right? We were on the side of the mountain. We were all down there partying, ooh, bunga, 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 doing our thing. And we saw John, no, not John, it's Unga Bunga. We saw Unga Bunga, that's our cousin. He walked up in there and he went in the cave, right? And all of a sudden we heard, grrr, we heard the grizzly, we heard a bear. And you heard John scream, ah! Next thing you know, blood splatters out the cave, and and there's a couple other caves. He went in the cave because we were looking for, I don't know, so let's say mice. We were trying to eat some mice or something. We were hungry. We wanted to get some food. See, saute a couple mountain mice and some leaves or something. There's a couple caves up there, and I just saw John go in that damn cave. John just got ate. No, that's not John. That's Unga Bunga. Unga Bunga, he was in the cave. He just got ate. You'd be pretty stupid to walk back in that cave. Like, you would be pretty... And this is my point in terms of knowing where not to go. You don't always have to have the answer. If you know greed is the problem, if you know the grizzly bear is the problem, if you know money is the problem, currency is the problem, then damn it, I don't have to know which one of the other 20 caves to go into. I just know I don't need to go in that cave. That one right there, because Unga Bunga, he's good at the game with the stick and the ball and the stone, but damn it, he ain't gonna be good at it no more because he's dead. And this is where we are, right? Like, this is where our consumerism has landed us. You can't have a currency, a monetary-based system without having slavery. It's completely impossible. And so I've been paying attention to some of the brothers, what is his name? Jacques Fresco. I think I posted one of his videos, one of his talks this morning. Take a look at it. And another, Jordan Peterson. And I know, and I think Jacques is behind it's the Jade Project. Excuse me if I'm wrong. I have to post the links to it. And the other one is Jordan Peterson. He's behind or one of the guys behind the Zeitgeist movement. And you don't have to have the fix. But the interesting thing, though, is every argument I've ever heard of why we have to have a money-based system is gone. Like, they've all been addressed. And, Brother Andrew, don't tell me. Yeah, the Venus Project, that's the name, the Venus Project. Don't tell me that Jacques Fresco, I just got introduced to the cat. He had me crying. Don't say he passed away. And this, man, like, this is the problem. Our libraries are dying. Like, our geniuses, our thinkers, and that he died in May. So that's horrible. So, but this is the great thing about the internet. The internet is changing everything, which is why they want to regulate it, right? Remember, the truth is, when the enemy says to do something, don't do it. If they say go left, go right. If they say go right, go left. And after 9/11, what did Bush say? Go shopping, right? Right? Support all this back here, right? So keep funneling the money up, because that's actually what the terrorists were going for. Y'all not gonna like that, but that's why they went after the World Trade Center. It was a hint to us what we are doing to them, our brothers and sisters elsewhere around the world. So, but the internet stored a lot of his videos. So he has a lot of lectures and talks that I see after. So I'm gonna be watching a lot of that today. So if y'all watching my thread, if you believe in your monetary system, my thread probably is not the place for you today. But that's who I'm gonna be studying today. So rest in peace, brother. And it's saved though. There are times back in history where we couldn't save that. We couldn't go back and listen and expand our mind. You don't have to have the answer to a problem. All you really have to have is, don't go in that cave, right? There's 19 other caves you can go into. And so don't worry about the people who are saying, well, you don't have an answer for this. And what are we going to do about the police? And what are we going to do about the banks? What are we going to do? You realize that pretty much every ill of our society is based on scarcity. Every last one. Every last crime, hate, all of it. And the good part is the vast majority of problems to solve are gone when money is gone. How do we get there? People say it's fantasy, and we can't get to a system. Every new concept and every new idea is said to be fantasy. Every new approach, whether it's gender rights or rights to vote, or even starting a country called America and getting away from England, and all of these ideas and concepts, they're always thought to be crazy initially until they're done. And but the reality is, like, communal style, resource, gift based living, which is what we're kind of talking about. The vast majority of the world does that. And I think if you really think about it, the vast majority of America does that too. Right? So look at a family. Do your children pay you? That might be a slightly bad example. I'm just thinking about, man, when I was a kid, oh man, I got a little bit of allowance, but it was not an equitable rate. It wasn't an equitable rate, right? Like, it wasn't, it wasn't fair wages, but there was something there. But the point was, is that, it really wasn't more so for all the labor we did. It was to show us, to give us something to go out and do something with. But the majority of things your parents give you, they're gifts. Christmas time comes around, they're gifts. When you go to your friend's house and you see that they need something, you give them something. If you have a friend that has shoes that are tattered and torn, next time you're at the shopping mall, what do? You grab them a pair of shoes. Like, we've always been that, and we've always done that. And that is who we are. The system that works well. Christmas time comes around, you get a gift for the teacher. Like, this is who we are. And the systems where we do that, they actually work really damn well. Like the book exchanges, even the libraries, like those systems. And guess what? Nobody is murdering anybody in those systems. Nobody's killing anybody in those systems. They actually, but that is who we are. Even in daycares and as kids, the first thing we do is we learn to share. So it's not a crazy concept. It's more of an extreme crazy concept to have this coin and this currency in a trade system. And I think if you really think about, like, if we go back to some of the ancient days, we go back to back in the days when where it was more obvious, that we had more communal type systems. That's kind of a weird picture. Let me do this. Let me go back to my apocalypse picture and put this over here. So, in between the tribe, right? Like what the tribe did, they were all communal, right? Like that's Umbuka right there, and that's Kafase right over there, right there. And if he needed something, we provided something. We went out and hunted. It's something I talk to people a lot when I speak to them. We in terms of humanity, like people ask me, it's like, wow, you got all these plants, man. How do you take care of all these plants? You water all these plants. And yeah, I have thousands of plants, and I love it. I can't. Since the beginning of human history, we always had something to care for. Like, it is a part of us as anything. Why? Because we survived as a group. It is important that you raise your kids teaching them to care for something. Why? Because people who care for something. And people who don't have to care for something, they don't care for anything. And that's a reality. We train our kids into who they should become. And so in these communal societies, in the tribe, everyone shared everything. Like, that's just how it worked across the world. The only time that, this trade thing came in is when we ran into another tribe, right? And they got spears and they got knives, and, we got spears and our warriors got knives. And we go to trade with them. It was a violent thing, right? We have to be careful now. I'm going to trade you for that, and we're going to get this. And trading between us is like a violent act, because I need to make sure we get enough, because if I give you too much, then I don't have enough in my tribe, and we're going to be in trouble because we don't have this, and I gave a bad trade. And so if trading was a violent thing, and so eventually that trading, it's a thing based on trust, on no trust, right? Like everything done within the tribe, the family, is based on trust. But things between tribes, between potential enemies, was violent, and there's no trust in that process. And this is the basis of money, right? Like, this is the basis of trading with someone and buying something. It is a violent process, because I don't trust that you're going to give me value for this. And so what I think a lot of the guys who are talking about this, And I'm new being exposed to a lot of y'all already know a whole lot about what they're talking about. But it's based on that concept of putting trust back in between humanity. If you've ever been in a relationship where there's little or no trust, oh my God, like we built a society based on no trust. And so everybody's scared of each other. No one trusts each other. And a lot of that goes back to these banks, and that's how they make their money and how the wealthiest make their money. They've interjected this currency thing in between all trade so they can make a lot of money trading between communities on this concept of no trust and violence. And so think about that. But, you know, we have to get past the scarcity models, right? Like it's these monetary systems, they're very primitive in nature. They came about for a place and time, and their time has come to an end. Why has their time come to an end? Their time has come to an end because of what they've done, right? Like at the end of the day, you know, I can tell you that I'm a nice guy all I want. But if I shut the video down and I go out and I'm murdering and killing people, I come back on the next day, I tell you I'm a nice guy, you know, stick with me, and you know, go back out and do the same thing again. You know, the result determines what it is. And if the result of monetary-based systems is this, if you can kind of see what's going on here, where you have two sides of the track, where you have endless wars, you have endless murder, you have rape upon rape, you have societies in decay, you've got I think you just have to look at the results of it. If the results of currency-based systems is murder and death, the disrespect for human life, then obviously it can't continue. Not if we value those things. And so those of you who are still trying to, in your mind, justify and stick to some new concept of Band-Aid on something to keep a currency-based system going, the perspective I come from is your ideas come from those who don't want to give up what they have. They've come from a tribe. They were born into wealth or money, something, and they promote these concepts that allow them to keep what they had. You know, it allows them to keep their birthrights to wealth, their birthrights to what their ancestors stole or murdered others for. And so it's along the same thought process of we have to stop band-aiding problems. We have to stop trying to duct tape systems to get somewhere. If the system doesn't work, if its construct is evil and gets us nowhere, it completely has to go. And it's important to talk about, I think, where we want to be, because otherwise, when there's opportunity to interject in the conversation where we need to be, we need to know that. And we need to, instead of kind of cheering another little monetary system or cheering another little stopgap solution, we need to say, no, that doesn't make sense. Because even if we have to get there in steps, we know that the endpoint looks like this. You know, if that's the Star Trek economy or whatever, you know, this is the endpoint we need to get to. So if your solution or plan doesn't take us in that direction, then it's wrong. And that's, Brother Andrew, I'm with you. And tribalism is our problem. They've divided us into all of these tribes, and probably the smallest unit might be communities or families where we don't have violent trading systems between each other with currency, where there is no trust. And so they divide everybody up into all these groups, and that's how they conquer, and they keep these monetary concepts with all these other pure evil, non-egalitarian, is it egalitarianism? Egalitarianism, which is an equitable society, these concepts to prevent equity. They don't want to be equal. And, you know, and this is where, you know, I'm not on the boat with the Democrats or the Republicans, because they don't want an equal society. What they want to do is they want to continue to do the same band-aiding of the system so they maintain the power and they keep these systems going. And so, and this is why with most posts, I always try to put in there dim exit, rep exit, because they don't have any solutions. Their interest is keeping all of this going. And so I like to always talk about, neurology, neuroscience. I think that's one of the hottest sciences going. Next to some aliens is like space type stuff. But, kids, they become who you raise them to be, right? Like if we raised our kids to be headhunters, they'd be headhunters. How do we know that? Because damn it, if there's a little island, I don't have a picture, but there's a little island called, it's off the coast of India, Sentinel Island, right? Sentinel Island. Look at it. I love stuff like this. But if you go to Sentinel Island, you're not coming back. Everybody who's approached Sentinel Island, they all get killed. Every last one of them. Nobody has been there in, something like 30,000 years. Every time a boat pulls up, a plane crashes, someone gets shipwrecked, and they get off on the sand like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be here. They stab them. Every time a helicopter comes by, they throw spears at it. And so the Indian government, they have a protection area around the island where nobody can go there. Well, if you raise your children to hate outsiders, that's who they're going to be. If you raise them to kill people and put their skulls on a spike, that's who they're going to be. If you raise them to chase money, right? If you raise them and you teach them, because early on, they don't know anything about it. And they don't care anything about it. Like when kids are born, they just want to suck on the ball and lick the window, right? Like I love these babies, but they want to explore. Like that's what all that is. That's Star Trek, man. That's like exploration of our universe, our biosphere. They just want to learn. And so they taste everything and they touch everything. They just, and then we teach them what you can't do, especially what you can't do if you don't have money, or what you can't do or what you can't have at the grocery store. You can't, and so we turn them into these little monsters for acquisition of currency. So they spend their whole life chasing currency. And I submit to you that there eventually has to be a generation that's smart enough to actually teach children that chasing currency, chasing, the acquisition of wealth is going to be the end of mankind. And that's a hard transition, right? Like, let's say if we went to a gift-based or resource-based economy tomorrow, crime would dissipate to pretty much nothing. It would probably take months to do that. It would probably take a little while, like somebody still come rob you and they go around, try to sell it somewhere for some dollars, and nobody wants to buy it because dollars have no more meaning anymore. We'd still have to deal with the little psychopaths we made, right? Like scarcity. When you get down to the root cause analysis of what a psychopath is a person we make. It is a person we make through scarcity models of monetary systems. That's where they come from. They are our warriors. Look at the research of James Fallon. If you haven't heard me talk about it, listen to somebody who knows what they're talking about. A neuroscientist. We make the psychopath. So we have to deal with the monsters that we made, that we have, right? But the next generation and us cultivating kids, like the currency in the currency in a system that allows humanity to continue is really a human brain based currency, right? Like think about it like that. It's not really gifting and resourcing. It's kind of making intelligence a resource. If we can make the brain of children a resource, then I do better. I forgot who said it, but it says, my life is better if your kids are smarter, right? So I'm now highly motivated to, hang on, let me put this picture up, because sometimes you have to have pictures, and this helps people to kind of process. See, look at this picture. I of course, you know me. I don't play the supremacy games. Y'all want to talk about white supremacy, black supremacy. That nonsense is for people who want to talk nonsense. I don't have time for that. So these kids right here, my interest is in them not living in a car. And I think that's where that picture came from. You know, it was a family that lived in a car, a homeless family. I don't want them living in a car. I want them living in a home. I want them fed well. I want them to have the best education, because as I get older, my tribe, my human tribe, my society is going to be carried by those guys. And I want them to know everything I know. I don't want them to just to know what their father knows, and he might be the gate of that, and his mother might be the gate of that. But anytime I run into those kids, I'm going to invest in them everything I know. I'm going to make sure they have everything they need, because I'm smart enough and I understand that scarcity is what makes people angry, and where hate and anger comes from. And so I want to make sure they have all the food that they need. I want to make sure that they're comfortable. I want to make them happy, because now our currency, our children, are what we embrace most is the human brain. And so I have to slow down a little bit. I kind of get going down that road, but we have to get to a point where we have a generation that is smart enough to realize we're all being played and we're all being screwed. And when we make that shift within a generation of children being raised to not chase money and acquire wealth and not be told what they can't do, we'll have a society of adults who want to contribute to a community. And that's what's important. I'm going to stop. I see a comment from Sinclair. Oh, the Rothschilds. Hey, how you doing? The Rothschilds made it. Well, you're not going to like this video, Sinclair. Weren't there still wars with hunter-gatherer societies? Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not sure if you came in late, but what we were talking about was, but the wars weren't fought within the community, right? The wars are fought outside of the community, right? Like, you've got these people who talk about race wars, and of course wars between the world wars between Germany and China and all the different, like, all these wars are fought at points of distrust. There are no wars fought between children and their parents. Actually, there are some wars fought between children and their parents, but I got some crazy kids. I raised them dudes to be individual thinkers, but nobody's trying to kill each other. They just try to tie me up with duct tape, but that's another whole thing. But wars are fought between these lack of trust points. And within communities, there is trust. Outside of the family, that's when trust starts to come. But within, say, your brothers and their uncles and your mother, and there's still that trust. And so anywhere there's sharing and there's community, there is trust. And so there's no need for war. So even in hunter-gatherer times, you can process that there would be tribes who fought together, who worked together, and they had free trade between their communities. There was no reason for war. And so even war and, killing folks, like, that's all about a lack of trust. It's like being in a relationship or marriage where there is no trust. So getting rid of money gets rid of those lack of trust points, because that's the whole purpose of it. I don't trust you, and I don't trust the value of what we're trading. So that was the concept with it. And so children are the future. Sister Renee, that's it. And that's how we level up. Like, we have to stop and level up. And so I'm gonna keep going down. So most communities in the world are all communal. We just haven't implemented them everywhere. It's quite easy to implement them everywhere. We know where we are. It's not working. So when you think about, I got a few things in here. I'm trying to just read through a few comments. I got to make sure I do a little interactive. I see y'all been talking, but I don't see. But investing in the future. Let me do this. I'm gonna swap my picture. Pictures that shouldn't exist. Here's a picture that shouldn't exist. Let's follow that one for a minute. You've got, if you can't see it that well, you've got a homeless brother or sister down there, and there's a massive, ignorant limousine behind them. So we live at a time of extreme wealth. And I think what's important about today is it's so obvious and it's so in your face, it's not even hidden anymore. What is the other important thing about today is that, well, it's the internet. So we know what the problems are. We know we can fix the problem. We're connected with the human tribe all over the planet, but we also can see the ignorance of wealth. We can see that the wealth disparity has gone so far, that it's just flat out in your face. And the other important thing about today is that we also have the automation, right? Like, and I talked about automation before, where people, they hear automation. It's a bad thing, automation. We got to stop it. It's going to take our jobs. It's going to take our jobs. Open your mind for a minute and ask, why do you need a job? You know, this is about to get a little hippy dippy, so y'all, stay with me for a minute. But why do you really need a job? If we're raising children to contribute to a community and we're cultivating them so that, well, what do you do well? You build things well, and we're helping them with Legos, and we're showing them how to construct things. We're giving construction concepts so they can program the new robots that are building everybody's houses. And why do they have to have a job? They love what they do. Hang on. So I said something slipped. And, so in terms of automation, that we have robots that can build houses, right? Like, let me just put it flat out. We have robots that can fulfill every human need. And this is not new technology. That we have robots that can grow all the food that everybody needs. And that there's more resources on the planet than what 10 billion people could ever use. 30 billion people could ever, 100 billion people could ever use. We have more than, our technology has outpaced our populations. It's a lie that we don't have enough. We have robots that can build entire houses and communities and cities for almost nothing. So the idea that automation is bad is a stupid concept, and it makes no sense, and it's completely untrue. We can build houses, and you can have any design house you want. What kind of house you want? We got a robot that can build it. And we have people who love robotics enough to keep doing it. And it's the same thing with me and plants. Why do I got thousands of plants? Because I love to do it. You don't have to pay me for it. I'm gonna do it because it's my hobby and it's what I love. And that's the power of cultivating a child to love something and to embrace doing what they love, not to embrace what makes them money. Because right now they pick careers based on how can I make a lot of money. But the automation is always there, already there. And we've been here before when the auto industry became automated. What did we do? We handed that wealth to the wealthy. We handed that wealth to the 1%. We could have handed that wealth to humanity, but we chose not to. We chose to allow the 1% to siphon all of that back up. And so the future of where we're going with all of this, right? Like, let me throw a picture up here, and I'm gonna start to kind of wrap some of this in. Where are we going if we don't change? So, some of y'all say, oh, we're going to take it from the wealthy. We're going to take it from the upper class, and the middle class fight the upper class. And when you look at where all of this is going, you realize that the upper class isn't our problem. You don't need to take what they have. We're not talking about taking what anybody has. There's plenty of land in this country and this world to just make sure everybody has what they need, to make sure that but when you talk about taking what's like, that's the 9% right there. When you talk about taking what the upper class has, it empowers them and it encourages them to buy people who are in that little 30% area or the 40% area to pay them, to put them up a little higher in class, to pay their mortgages, to kill you and throw you in prison, right? Like that's what the king always does and the lords always do. You know, the goal has to be just providing for people. These monetary systems are collapsing anyway, and they're going to collapse on their own. The question is, are we going to keep talking about other monetary systems to put in their place so that that 1% can keep what they have and maybe some of the 9% can keep what they have? Or are we going to talk about, no, now that this is collapsed, we're going to use automation to make sure that every human being on this planet, every child has a house, they have all the food they need, they have the health care they need, because all of these things are very easy to provide and they're almost free on very old technology that we've had for 30 years. But we continue to promise to people that they can have more. So, but we're all actually in the same boat because the future of all of this is right behind me. Like, this is where we're going because we keep marching this direction. It'll get to a point where you can't turn it back. It'll get to a point where the vast majority, which in that last picture was like a red dot on the screen. Put that back up. So in this picture, you know, where's the vast majority? The majority fit within the 30%, the 20%, and it's a little dot in the state of Texas, which is actually smaller than the largest landowner in Texas, which is another whole discussion about how one man in America actually owns more land than I think it's the state of Rhode Island. Massive ranch in Texas. But you know what happens when you have enough? They're not going to put everybody in prison. They're not going to put everybody in cages. They're not going to have everybody in concentration camps. You'll get to a point where you'll have enough psychopathic warrior gene raised children that they will topple society and there will be nothing you can do to stop it. And so we're all on the same team. And we're not talking any new concepts because apparently these concepts have been around for a very long time. And technology is the answer. We have to, well, okay, before technology is the answer, you know what the answer initially is knowing who to listen to, right? Because nobody has all the solutions, and I don't think nobody, really has something that will work 1,000 years down the road. But there are very great models that these folks at Zeitgeist and the Venus Project are talking about that'll maybe get us to the next 500. Like, our goal has to be to fight extinction. Our goal has to be, how do we get our kids to the next step? Because as a parent and as an adult in a society, it's all about leveling up the next generation. And so we have to push them to a point, and they can decide 500 years down the road, 1,000, what is the next model to upgrade to kind of keep things going in the right direction. But where we are right now, the end of where we're going should be obvious to everybody. And so, there's, and you're right, Sister Lisa, there are those who are trying to protect their future profits. They keep deploying and hiring people to talk about new monetary systems that kind of band-aid up the last one or duct tape. You'll always have someone at the top, though. You'll always have someone who will exploit the greed. And so you have to take out the ability for human greed to thrive. And you'll never do that with a monetary-based system. And so, little picture there. And it's not anything against the troops. It's just a thing about reality, which is anytime you have people who have 22 yachts and ignorant wealth and mansions in every country on the planet, they will always have people they can hire to rob, kill, murder, do whatever they need. And when it's not obvious, they'll use nationalism to get very smart people to go do very horrible things, which is what a lot of our wars are, because you've got your Democrat and Republican, who, I hate to hit on them, but unfortunately they're at the top and they're the ones who are lying the most. And so they kind of drum up these ideas that allow very intelligent people to be fooled. Very, people who have a lot of love in their hearts. It was something that Brother Jacques said. Brother Jacques, he said, Larry King asked him a question. Larry King asked him, he says, what do you think about Christianity? And to be fair, just to be fair, I am a Christian. I'm probably not like any Christian you know. I actually believe in Christ. That's the craziest thing. I think he was right. But anyway, they asked Brother Jacques. Larry King asked him, so what do you think about Christianity? He said, I think it's great. When is anybody going to start practicing it? And he's right. He's right. Because being raised in the church and knowing my Bible upside down, I'm not sure that I've met a Christian. I can tell you, I'm not from practice. I'm not even one. But the things that these Republicans and Democrats, the things they can get you to clap for and cheer for, the murdering of children and the bombing of human beings, and convince you that this is normal and this is okay, and that Christ or Buddha or whoever would vote for these things and cheer them. At some point in time, I try to be nice, but at some point in time, I really do start to wonder about the intellect and the brain capacity of some people. It's never okay to murder children, especially not for resources or oil or, let me take the especially out. Let me throw that stuff out. Let's throw that away. It's never okay to kill children. Never. And votes kill. Votes kill more than anything else kills. So I ask you to think about that. Kind of look through a few of what y'all talking about. So, and I'm looking at it, and people believe in different things, and I'm okay with that. Like, why do you have to believe what I believe? I mean, I believe my things. I was raised in my way, but as long as my things don't hurt you and they don't impose on you, then we're all good. As long as we both know that we're both brothers, and I might be raised as a Christian, but I don't buy into any of the concepts that make me like I'm any better than you. We're exactly the same. We're a part of the human tribe. And I don't personally group up with people because they're Christian. I don't group up with anybody because they're anything. I spend time with everybody. In fact, half the time I look for people who are different than me because I want to know what they know. Like, why would I group up with people who know what I know and do what I do? That's going to make me stupid. I don't want to be stupid. I like to be smarter. I like to spend time with people who were exposed to things that I wasn't. And so we have to throw away our thinking and be more Star Trek about our existence. Sister Jeannie, you hit it. That's it. I was raised watching Captain Kirk, boy. Captain Kirk and the Blue Women. I was in the future. I was like, where are the blue women at? I got to find me some blue women. But anyway, we're not going to go into that. So, but that's the mind of a child, right? Like, as a child, you want to explore and you want to find things. And I think that's what humanity is. And I think that's what human beings are. But we've allowed the people who rule this monstrous, murderous planet and murderous systems, we've allowed them to change what we teach our children. And I think in time we'll realize that teaching a child to acquire money and acquire wealth as opposed to explore and lick the window and chew on the dog's toys. And Neil deGrasse Tyson says something I love. He talks about how to a child everything is an experiment. And as adults, we have to stop ending the experiment. Kids, it was funny. I fell asleep once, and this was a long time. I was a young parent. I fell asleep, and my oldest son, I lived in an apartment at the time, and he would, we were asleep together. I always went to sleep with him. Like, I would hold him, and he woke up before I did, and I guess he didn't wake me up. And he got the crayon and thought it would be a good idea to walk around the room and put a line around the room. So he got the crayon, and it was the funniest thing because when I woke up, I looked at all the crayon on the wall, and it went all the way around evenly. Oh, it was good. His experiment, like he figured out how to get an even line, and when he got to the sofa, you see the line go up. Then he got to the table. It was a table. The line went down so he can crawl under the table, and he went around the whole room and put a line around the room. And so, but what Neil talks about is, as parents, we keep telling our kids no. We keep telling them what they can't do. And we like these museum houses, and we don't let their experiments play out. And that's dangerous. It's dangerous because as a child, we want them to be Captain Kirk, right? It's not a guy thing. We want them to be Captain Janeway. Yes, I'm up on my Star Trek. I watched all of them. We want those kids to be explorers, and we want to encourage that exploration because we need to send them out and find something beautiful to interject into society. Don't send them out to pick a career to go make money for currency. Like, this is stupid. Send them out to find something beautiful and share it with others. We can do that in a generation. But again, it takes more of an evolved mind. It takes people with open minds and foresight to say, the current system doesn't work, and it never will work when greed has too much of a grip on the very basis of what we are. And that's what I got for this morning. That's what I'll be looking into today. I'll watch more from the brother Jacques. Rest in peace. But he's got a lot of good stuff out on YouTube. So I'm gonna share that as I'm learning through some stuff today. Try to expand my mind. Hey, listen, I appreciate you guys jumping on. I appreciate you taking time, listening to kind of what I'm thinking about. Hopefully some of it was resonating with you and you feel like sharing it out to people. I think we got to start the right conversations. And if we know what the problem isn't, then really, really smart people, definitely smarter than I am, and start to talk about what our solutions can be to make sure that we do level up for the next generation and we start to bring down the wealth and the greed that are destroying the world. All right. Y'all have a wonderful day. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. If I don't talk to you, have a wonderful